Well, well, well. Hello, nerds. You hear me? Can you hear me? Do I got sound? Yeah, we got sound. All right. Well, I'm Big D. And how we doing tonight? As we are in our end of year cycle, we are doing our Taco Tuesdays every other week, probably through the end of the year, depending on the new year goes, maybe even in a little bit into the new year. Give Big D a chance to charge my batteries. Hello, my brother. How are you, sir? It has been a while. I know I have been remissing away and doing my thing. I've just been, oh, oh, new job, new year, new everything, man. It's good. It's all good. Trying to get that grind on. Trying to get back to playing, trying to get back to painting, trying to get back into the hobby, get back into the mood of things. I have been off the wagon for a while now. Need to get back into it. I got a bunch of stuff I got to paint. And I got a tournament in 3 weeks. And we got to get this stuff painted and ready to go. So while we're talking, we're going to be laying down some nice dry brushing on our Death Guard. Got us some sick boys. Oh, I dropped something. They sick there, boys. Let me see what I dropped. And whatever it was, it just busted off an arm. All right. Yeah, I'm taking a DG. I got an RTT in 3 weeks, and I am taking the sick boys. I'm gonna take them down swinging. Get my sick on. I've got a list. I'm just trying to figure it all out. Get it put together. Now that I have a really easy and solid method laying down that Death Guard green, and then just giving the whole thing a nice dry brush in Nurgling green. And then get to detailing. Nice thing about Death Guard, once you have them down, once you have your methodology for doing them, they get pretty routine, to be honest. So while Um, actually, what's funny is my list isn't running any of the Blight Lord Terminators. Um, I thought about throwing some Blight Lords in there, but to be honest, I mean, yeah, some people are sticking a single blob of 10 in there because they've got super stickiness. Um, and I still might. I got a couple weeks to test it out. But I'm actually at this build, the way I'm looking at it, I'm not running any um Blight Lord. I'm running two 3-man blobs with a Death Shroud. I'm running 3 Plague Burst Crawlers. I'm running 5 blobs of what do you call it? 5 blobs of Plague Marines. Like I'm running an absolute buttload of Plague Marines. Um, where are you going, Kami? We haven't been talking. What's going on? Oh, you've been in Ohio. Are you finally coming home? Oh, okay. Um, call me funny for not remembering, because Thanksgiving kind of screwed up my calendar. Are we supposed to be playing Thursday, or is that next week? It is Thursday, Shadowrun. Okay, excellent. That's what I thought. Um, from every indication, it looks like Lady D and Durga will be present. So, a lot of stuff come down and is coming down the pipe um, in Warhammer. Um, Christmas boxes came out. Votan box at my store. 2 of them were on pre-sale, so they got sold before the doors even opened, and they dropped on Black Friday. They were gone. They were literally the other one was gone within about 10 minutes of store opening. Um, two of the Tyranid one are gone. And that was pretty much it. I was shocked that we still had the guard ones in stock. As of that night, as of actually Monday night, we still had yesterday. We still had them in stock, which I was shocked by. I figured those were going to go right away. Hey, Art, what's going on? Yeah, I mean, you know, Mythos, comes time. Maybe it's time you and the old lady got a house. So you have a room to take up with your hobby. Because, I mean, that really is the next reason to buy a house. Is you need more room for Warhammer. Either that or you start renting a storage shed. uh, yeah, it's unfortunate that working in the game store keeps me from coming and bugging you guys too much on your streams. I don't get to see my boys very much anymore. Don't get to talk to you. Don't know what's going on with you guys much anymore. It's a shame. I love you guys. You guys still some of my favorite people. I don't get to. My times, my spaces is limited. My days is limited. And my evenings are negligible. So when I check up on my boys, and I literally don't have the time. That's great, man. That's great to hear. Yeah, don't listen to Mythos. He's got enough armies. He is starting to get to a point where he's challenging me for all the armies. Difference is he's just got starter versions of all of them. Well, I bought the starter box, and I bought a start collecting, and I bought this one box of boosters. And now I'm thinking about the army. But then there's this other game, and I want to get it too. And I get all my friends addicted to it. And now Song of Ice and Fire is taking off at our local game store. Yeah, exactly. Man's got every faction for Song Ice and Fire. All right, let's see here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Lord of Virulence. Icon Bearer. Icon Bearer. Sorcerer Death Guard Armor's Foom. Foul Blight Spawn. He just needs to be touched up. Lord of Virulence. All right. All right. Now I gotta figure out these champions. I'm so proud of you, dude. I mean, it's like me and having the 40K community that I have in Mech 1. I haven't played a game there on Thursdays in a year, and that community is still just going damn strong, and I'm so proud of it. And they can just keep it going and keep it going and keep it going. So proud of what they got going on there. Okay. We got a sergeant, a plasma, a melee monster. Melee monster. Yeah, y'all are going to get to see this mess that I'm bringing. Squirtle the turtle. Melee monster. Plasma. Sergeant. Plasma. Melee. Blight launcher. Blight launcher. Blight launcher. Blight launcher. Sergeant. Biologists. Melee. Plasma. Yeah, it's tough. This build is kind of needs a lot of different moving parts to work. Squirtle. Sergeant. 2 Squirtles. 3 Squirtles. You're an extra. Melee. Blight launcher, blight launcher, blight launcher. Squirtle, Squirtle, Squirtle. So many pieces. Pull you out, get these guys done. That is a plasma. That is a sergeant. Yeah, man. I haven't even built my stuff for that. I've wanted to build it. I hate to say it. I want it. I want to build it. I want to get to it. It's so low down on my. It's so low down on my. Oh, I got to get to this some point soon. It's bad. It's really bad. It's like, yeah, I got to get to you, but there's shit ahead of you in the queue. And that's the funny thing. It's like I have my entire Nordic set. I built the giant, and that's it. But the problem is, okay, so I think of our community, the 3 people that also own armies are all on the channel right here. Everybody talking, oh, I want to get into this, and then nobody wanted to commit. So it's just like, crap. It looks fantastic. It really does. It really looks like a fantastic game. I mean, I got it because it looks fantastic. But it's just nobody is showing any interest to actually playing it. And I got so many other games that people want to play. Like I've been playing, I want to get some Age of Sigmar in. I got to get those guys finished. I'm playing 40K again. I got some people that want to get me into playing some more Kill Team. And so it's like, I only have so many hours in the day. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just there's so many good games out there. The curse of being a multi-game whore. All right, so let's take a break from this for a second. I can't freaking focus on this. I have to go in the box and look at what I'm missing. So Christmas boxes came out. Like I said, the Votan box is fantastic, but it sold out right away. There's one box of the big one at my store of the bugs. The Orc one, we sold one, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's a great box, but just and the Orcs are doing really great right now. It's funny because I haven't been playing competitively very much this year. I have no idea what's being played locally. I have literally no idea what people are playing. That's the thing. You're absolutely right there. There's so many good games out right now that it's like, well, I want to talk about 40K. Yeah, but there's so many other good games out there. I want to get into Marvel Crisis Protocol. That looks like a fantastic game. I used to love playing HeroClix, and it looks like it's like HeroClix, upgraded. I loved HeroClix. There is a growing group of people playing Legion, and as much as I'm not a Star Wars guy, I mean, Star Wars is fine. I just have no interest in playing it. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, okay, that's great, but there's a lot of people I see are playing it. And when there's people playing a game, you want to play that game because you'll know you'll be able to get games in. But it's like the problem I have with that is like, none of those armies really appeal to me. The army I want to play isn't the legal army. So it's like, okay, well, I don't want to play that. I want to, but I don't. I'd like to play Shatterpoint, but again, I don't know anybody that's played it. Yeah, you hear, oh, it's a great game. Yeah, okay, then who's playing it? Nobody. Ben plays all the games. That's what I like about Ben. One of the things I love about Ben is that Ben just plays all the games. People talk about Adrian being all the games, Big D being all the games. My man Ben there, he is all the games. BattleTech, oh my gosh. BattleTech is coming back with a vengeance up in Mequon, and that's kind of got me hyped because that's a cheap game to get him back into. $20, $20 gets you a starter box. $60 and you buy a lance of figures, you're done. You don't really need any more. And yeah, I want to do Necromundo like really badly. I really do. But again, I only have so much time. That's the biggest problem, is that it comes down to how much time do you have in a day, a week, a month. I end up getting my 40K wedged in Saturday mornings before I go to work at the game store. I literally go to the game store 4 hours early. We play a game of 40K, and then I go to work. So I spend 12 hours in the place. I got Thursdays where I play my role-playing game, which I love. And then the alternate Thursday, I spend it with my wife. Although now she and I are talking about potentially going up to Mequon again to get back into the 40K community there, and get some reps in with my Death Guard if I'm going to be playing them. It's all tough. It's a tough situation. There's stuff I want to do. There's stuff I got to do. There's stuff I need to do. And there's only so many hours in a day. Hobbying should be fun. It shouldn't be stressful. So I'm stressed out about it. Because I got to get this army freaking painted up. Because I have a lot of Death Guard painted, but I don't have any of the things I'm playing painted. Which is aggravating. Damn. You don't have no idea. Y'all have no idea. It's aggravating. Not having the stuff you need painted up and ready to go. It's damn aggravating. I have this huge bit box of all my Death Guard stuff, and I have no idea where I put it. I think I sent it up to the attic in storage. So the couple extra bits I need to square around a couple of these guys, I can't find in nowhere. Life is complicated, gentlemen. Don't grow up and be an adult. It sucks. Adulting sucks. Let me tell you. What is this? Those other wolves I need to eventually get back into and paint, for crap's sake. Yeah, this is an entire box of Thunderwolves. Nothing but Thunderwolves. They're all magnetized, though. Yeah, bunch of magnetized Thunderwolves. Got to get repainted. Oh. So, Mechanicus is coming. People really aren't talking that much about it. They're talking about the Necrons because the Necrons people are pissed about what's happening in Necrons. The Necrons are kind of very meh. Yeah, adulting sucks, man. It sucks. I don't want to work. I just want to bang on the drum all day. Well, that didn't work at all. See, Terminators. I got tons of Terminators. They're just not the right kind. Damn it. They're the exact wrong kind of Terminators. Yeah, it's the great thing about the situation I'm in. Like, I love what I'm able to do. I love this game, but I'm glad I'm not playing competitive a lot anymore because I think I'd lose my damn mind if I did. More than I'm already lost it. Two, 3, and 4. 5 and 6, and 7 and 8. And 9. And I need a squirter for there. Huh. Well, that's good to know. I've actually got too many squirties. That's not a bad problem to have. Too many melees. Yeah. I might pull a squirty and put some melees in some. Now I need the squirties. All right. Yeah, I hear Shatterpoint's great. I want to play it, even though I'm not a Star Wars guy. I think it'll be fun. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks fairly balanced and fairly fun. Yeah, I need one squirty boy. So then the 3 of these. Oh, squirty boy right here. There we go. That's my 10. I don't need you. I don't need another Plazzy. I don't need another one of you. I don't need you, but I like you. And I can paint one of you two up. The banner, I think I like this banner better. So I don't need you. And I don't need you. Excellent. Well, that takes a bunch off the plate. These are all guys I don't need right now. 1, 2, 3, 4 plasma. 2 plasma there. Yeah. All right. So these guys are all extras. That's good. All right. So I can put these on the plate and put these down here. These I need. All right. These are all guys I can go in the to-do, but they're not critical list. Excellent. Although I still think I like you better. Yeah, I like you better than Sword Boy here. So Sword Boy goes in the back. All right. That is good. You don't need to be painted right now either. Everybody else is in there. All right. So we only have to paint 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I'm going to paint 27 figures in 3 weeks. Fair. I'll have them done by this weekend. That's what I say about Death Garden. Easy peasy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. As long as I can hang on to my paints. Other than a Pokemon, what's a Squirtle? A heavy plague sprayer. Basically, it's a heavy flamer with anti-infantry 4. Torrent, no cover. It's basically the Death Guard's filth squirter. The way the new squads are assembled. You take a 5-man squad. I'm finding for my build, what I'm doing is the squad of 5's got the sergeant with a plague fist, which is basically just it's a power fist with lethal wounds, lethal hits, I should say. That's basically what they did. All the plague weapons basically now just have lethal. So sergeant's got a plasma gun and a plague fist. I run a squirty, another plasma gunner, a blight launcher, leader, plasma, blight launcher, squirty, and then a melee. A guy walking around with the heavy plague weapon, either the giant axe or the flail, since they're both the same weapon these days. The 10-man actually runs basically double that, except I still only put one squirter in there. And I dropped the second squirter to put a third heavy melee weapon in there. Because those melee weapons are brutal and lovely. They do, as they say, they do good work. The squirter auto hits, and it has anti-infantry 4, so it wounds automatically on the 4s, no matter what your toughness is as an infantry. For most of the time, that's not that big a deal, but what it helps with is that crud. The plague weapons are all the other plague weapons are lethal hits. The so the auto wound on 6s. The squirters, since you don't got to roll the hit, they anti-infantry on a 4-up. So they basically, if you're got a heavy infantry guy and there's any sort of reduction to wound or anything like that, I don't care. On a 4, you get wounded. Doesn't bother me. So the squirters are basically there to just kind of keep them pushing. Because the idea with them, and I'm also running 3 rhinos. I mean, I'm like these guys. The whole way of playing them at a competitive level is because they're so slow. You're basically just shoving them as fast as they can up the board. sacrificing the Rhino if need be to just get up the board as hard as you can and then sit down on an objective with your increased toughness and force them to come to you. Yeah, what do Grey Knights have? Because I don't even know what they do anymore. Other than I know they have don't they have like psychic weapons or something? I know a lot of my normal Grey Knights players have not been happy because Grey Knights seem to have been pretty keyword psychic. Yeah. Well, I mean, unfortunately, yeah, that sucks for now if it doesn't do anything extra. But keep in mind, we're still in the index phase. Um, Nothing is very balanced right now. It's disheartening and it's bothersome. But we went through this in 8th, where for the very first few, like the first year of 8th edition, nothing worked like we thought it did. Nothing worked great. Armies that got their books were massively overpowered, and they've done a pretty good job of not making that the case. There are a few armies that do suffer, not going to lie. That is one of them. But the flip side is, once everything normalizes out, I mean, Grey Knights should go back to being top of the meta. Because they've still got all the power and joy of being a Marine, but they're going to have lots of psychic shooting. Yeah, it does nothing now. And again, I understand the frustration with that. And because they're a highly specialized army, yeah, it kind of sucks for them right now. And I feel bad for them. But, you got to kind of know when their day comes and they get their full rules, they'll be cool as hell. Because that's literally the way GW writes their rules. Rules of the week are whoever's rules it is, they're gonna be cool, unless you're Necrons. Those poor guys, their new rules suck. I feel so bad for them. I feel bad for me. Like, my 2 armies that I was working on, I haven't even got a chance to play them yet. Well, I got to play my Necrons once, and they're getting nerfed to the ground. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one, Mythos. I think it's bullshit. That you know our unique units with our unique abilities, just like the poor Psychic Boys, like a lot of our stuff is just kind of meh right now. But the flip side is Thunderwolves are still a really good unit. We got really lucky there. Yeah, they're not the powerhouses they were, but they are feared. They clear boards like nobody's business. Um, Especially with some of the new rules in place. Like you're seeing people take 3 max size Thunderwolf cavalries, taking 3 max size Thunderwolf cavalries and attaching, you know, everything under the sun that they can. Them putting a captain in each and just sweeping around and board controlling the crap out of things, taking the detachment that lets them advance and charge. There's a lot to be said. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for some of the stuff they did to the Wolves. Unintentionally. Can they walk up with their Thunderwolves and wreck a knight anymore? No, they can't. But can they get halfway the board in one round? Steal an objective, absolutely raffle stomp the unit that's sitting on that objective, and then run away before anybody can get to them? Yeah, they can, and that's hilarious. I mean, there's a reason why Wolves are a top army right now. The only reason I'm not playing them is because I really wanted to play these guys. Like I really, 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 really wanted to play my Death Guard. But I made a purchase a few months back and bought a lot of a bunch of Space Wolf stuff with a Land Raider and that boatload of that box of wolves. I think there's 9 wolves in there. There might be 12 wolves in there, so that I have more than enough Thunder Wolves now to just go completely off and go into the meme thundering cavalry of big angry wolves. And I'm thinking about putting that together if I do well with the Death Guard army list I've got here. But I honestly, my stinky boys need their time in the sun. Are you not glued in? Not glued in. No. That's the whole thing. You're not going against them in melee. What you're doing, yeah, you're not taking on vehicles of melee anymore. That is a thing of the past. The meme of wolves chain sorting a tank down in one round, that's gone. What you're doing is you run a shitload of Thunderwolf cavalry and a bunch of dreadnoughts. You take your dreadnoughts, you run them up, you melee the crap out the tanks with the dreadnoughts after shooting the crap out of them, and then you use your Thunderwolves to sweep up all the objective points because they clear everything off the board. Look at some of the lists that have been winning tournaments. Wolves are great right now, and they're running Thunderwolves and assault guys and dreadnoughts. I can advance and I can charge. Advance and I can charge. I've got 12 movement and I can charge. I've got 12 movement and I can charge. I've got 12 in advance, 18 in a charge. So I use the big boys to shoot, move up, kill. I use my little guys, sweep all over the board, wipe everything down, clean the board. It's really crazy. I kind of hope I run into one of those games because these guys should put an end to that kind of crap. Because these are literally the anti-melee Marines. Death Guard kind of goes, you don't want to get into melee with me. You really don't. And if you're dumb enough to get into melee with me, I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to make you pay in possibly the worst way possible. Thunderbolts are still good. I'm telling you, they're just not tank killers anymore, buddy. They're still good. They're great, actually. They're just not tank killers anymore. It's just, that's not their job. And that shouldn't be cavalry's job. You shouldn't have cavalry taking out tanks. If you want to take out tanks, you got to take out tanks with tanks. And that's been the whole thing. It's just, and trust me, I miss it. I miss having 5 guys with thunder hammers jump down with backpacks and go, ding, 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 ding. That knight's gone. Ding, 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 ding. That tank is gone. I mean, I still remember one of the last games I played with Ragnar in 9th, where he ran up and destroyed a what do you call it? A Lehman Russ tank in melee with his chainsword. I don't, that's the bigger question. Why don't we have Thunder Fists? Why don't we have, or Thunder Hammers? Why don't we have Power Fists? That's what we should be running on Thunderwolves. And I want to say it's a balance issue because bikes can't take Thunder Hammers. And having something that fast that can hit like a Melta, yeah, that's, I mean, let's be honest. What do we like about them? They worked. They did a lot of work. Yeah, Outriders are bad. I mean, there's a way to play Outriders good. I'd get into that with you because there's an interesting way to play them I've been seeing. I haven't been looking at the Combat Patrol. No, I have not been looking at the Combat Patrol for Wolves, mainly because I hate the Thunder Wolves. I hate the Space Wolves Combat Patrol box. It's awful. It is literally a box of bad units with a single good character put into it. It's like, okay, we've got Reavers, which are awful. It's a horrible box, Ben. I it's a terrible box. It's so bad. Yeah, I don't think they really know what to do with cavalry because not every unit has. No, it's well, and that's the thing you got to that's the back and forth there. Is it bad for tournament play. Yeah, it's awful for tournament play in some cases. Is it fun for casual play? Yeah, but yes, but if I'm playing a fun casual game, Ben, like you and I talked about last weekend, I'm going to take my Thunder Rolls all day long, and we're going to have fun because I'm not worried about it. I'm going to take them I'm going to probably take them pistol and chainsword. So I have a very mobile unit running around. I'm going to take lots of jump packs, and we're going to run around the board and run around the board and run around the board. I probably won't even take tanks. I'd take some dreadnoughts maybe. Reavers are just a terrible model. There is literally no good variation. There's no good reason to take a Reaver. There's literally no good reason to take a Reaver. They don't do anything that any unit you could pick can do better, but are less expensive than. If I want a group of melee guys with pistols and chainswords, I'm going to take assault intercessors. If I want to take a bunch of stealthy subgun guys, I'm going to take the guys that actually the guys that actually infiltrate. If I'm going to take a guy that can jump around, I'm going to take guys with jump packs. And the problem is that they don't even take full jump packs, so they don't have great movement. They have better than average movement. They're like this mid unit that doesn't do any one thing good that anybody can do better in one way or another for cheaper. And it's just like, I don't like them. And then you can take them as the Space Wolf specialty version. And if your opponents are taking guys with psychic abilities, then they're amazing. Which basically means they're good against Tzeentch, because that's the only thing people are taking lots of psychic of right now. Nobody's playing again in casual. In casual, I guess they're fine. But I'd rather just take assault intercessors. I'd rather just take guys that are designed to run in and chop people up, not guys that are designed to dun 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 dun. Why? They're not a well-designed unit. They created them, and then they immediately created units to replace them. They weren't considered when they designed units after them. Yeah, they're great for kit bash material because I love their helmets. They're some of the coolest looking figures in the Primaris line. They really are. But it's also like the into blah blah blahs. The problem is, again, you come back to with there being so many different weirded named Primaris. It's like, what is the name? There's the jump pack guys that have the assault cannon. The interceptors. There's the incessors. The interceptors, I think they are, or they're the guys that basically fire the giant cannon. They look like they've got jump boots and the giant freaking auto cannon. And they nerfed the auto cannon so that it's a strong bolt gun. It's got 2 shots or 1 shot, strength 8, 2 damage, AP 1. Okay? And they got 12-inch movement. Okay. What are they supposed to do? What are they actually supposed to be doing? Nobody can give me a solid answer. There was a huge discussion about it earlier today. It's like, what do they do? They're a example of poor design. They had an idea what they did when they put them out, but they've so radically changed the game design since they created them, they now don't have a function. Suppressors. Yeah, no, they're strength 8. They're 8-1-2s. 8 -1-2s. So they're literally stronger than a heavy bolter with high movement. but not as good AP. It's 1 AP. It's like, okay, so if a Marine's got cover, he's saving on a 3s. So it's a Marine killer, I guess, with a 66% chance of saving against it. And it's 3 guys? I don't understand what they're supposed to be for. Like back in the day when they created them, they were supposed to be a unit that jumps in, shoots a unit, and says, good, now you can't fire Overwatch. That was why you took them. You took them to cover. They were supposed to be guys that suppressed fire on a unit so that you could get your melee guys in. They don't do that anymore, as I understand it. They're just like, what are they for? What is their function? No one's been able to give me a straight answer on that, which is why you don't see them in tournament play. Now, for casual play, again, they're fine. I mean, if I want to use them against like a lighter unit, if I'm using them like against guard, yeah, I'm going to blast some guard away. If I want to use them to kill some orcs, I mean, orcs aren't going to save very well against them. So yeah, I'm going to beat their 5 toughness. So there are certain types of infantry they're very effective against. They're expensive. And they don't fire a ton of shots. So I'm going to be using them against specialty infantry. So I'm paying for a specialty infantry unit to fight against a special infantry unit. Well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well just grab aggressors and use the Stormbolt gauntlets or something with a bunch of heavy bolters, like anything. Let me look. Let me look at what their ability is now. I can even tell you. Suppressors. Okay. Inline profiles, inline rules. So in your shooting phase, after this unit has shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more attacks made by an accelerator autocannon until the start of your next turn. While this unit is on the battlefield, that enemy unit is suppressed. While suppressed, that model is a -1 on their hit rolls. Yeah, the accelerator autocannon's 3 shots, 8-1-2. Yeah, like Ben, I'll play the regular Marine Combat Patrol, like the base Marine Combat Patrol. I'd rather play that than the Space Wolf one. I'll play it with Space Wolf rules, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, there's 3 or 4 different Space Marines Combat Patrols. Any of them work. That's the good thing about it. The nice thing about suppressors is that they've got a 48-inch range. That what they do? They're snipers from across the table. Yeah. 9 shots at 48 inches, 8-1-2. Hitting on 4s. That's the important thing. They're hitting on 4s. And because of what they are, they can't have a character attached to them. So I don't know. 85 points. For 95 points, I can take 5. I can take. If they don't move, I don't. Is the weapon heavy? Yeah, the weapon's heavy. So if I don't move my 12 inches of movement, then I'm back to hitting on 3s. So we got a jump pack unit with 12 inches of movement that you don't want to move with if you want to shoot. It's just bad design. I'm not complaining about Space Marines. Space Marines have plenty of good things. There's Space Marines. Space Marines put more units into Legends in the last data slate than Votann have in their codex. That was a stat that freaked me out. Yeah. The difference was back in the day, you could have a lieutenant look at them or a captain go at them. You're going to reroll ones to hit. You can have a chapter master give them rerolls, or you can have a captain in range and jump them into range and shoot. Now you have to have a character attached to you to do that. So they wanted this edition to be less deadly. I get that. I don't know that it is, because I'm still seeing table wipes happen. Yeah. I hate to say it, Ben. Battle Shock is possibly the most underwhelming ability I've found in the game. There are so many ways to invoke a Battle Shock, and for most units, especially if you're facing Marines, I got to roll a 6 on 2d6 or better. That's a better than 50% shot. I think with a 6, I think it's something like a 65 or 70% shot. They have precision. Yeah, they do. If I want to use them to kill a character, they can attack that character. The problem is their weapons have no AP. Most characters are going to have either a 3-up or at least, most characters are either going to have an invuln or at least a 3-up save. So they're just saving against all of that. Again, the Reavers are a good unit in, say, Combat Patrol. You're right. In Combat Patrol, they're fine. In a narrative game, I can see definitely good uses for them. If I'm playing a narrative campaign or a narrative game where I need a bunch of stealthy units, okay, yeah. I'd rather take infiltrators. Yeah, Combat Patrol. And that's the thing. I get that. And I understand, Ben. I'm not knocking Combat Patrol. I think it looks fun. It's definitely designed for the newer player or the player that doesn't want to get into the weeds. And I can see me playing that. Like I said, you and I had this conversation. I can see getting into playing Combat Patrol with friends. But when a unit is only specifically usable in a situation where you only have that choice, And that's the little bit of the problem I have with Combat Patrol as somebody who's I like Combat Patrol. And if I'm agreeing to play Combat Patrol with somebody, I'm already recognizing, hey, in Combat Patrol, this is what I'm going to have to use. I'm fine with that. It's a weird either or situation. Combat Patrol is more narrative because it does do things to units that they don't normally have, where it takes away abilities they do have because it's got to balance out the points. Because some of the Combat Patrols are wildly out of balance with each other. And that's fine. That's good. I dig that. And the idea of having slightly different rules to play a small, quick game of 40K is a good thing. Playing a 500-point game, if you wanted to tune a 500-point army, yeah, it's not the same as a Combat Patrol. And you and I, again, we talked about this. A 500-point army tuned versus a Combat Patrol army, the 500-point army is going to win every time, usually, because I'm just going to have more abilities to call on. Maybe. Depends on the army. But at the same time, you have no freedom in what you play. This is the box. You open the box, you build the figures, that's what you play. It's a good structured format, and I dig that. Part of the joy of Warhammer, in some cases, is the building of the army, the building the list, the testing out different things in the same army. Yeah, I could have 4 different Combat Patrols and play the 4 different boxes, and that's cool. But what about if I just want to build, Death Guard, but I don't want to use Combat Patrol? I don't want to use 30 Poxwalkers because that seems oppressive to put 30 Poxwalkers on the table. I agree. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm looking at the Necron box, and I think the Necrons are going to be fine. I like Necrons. I enjoy Necrons. I want to see... I'm going to be getting the new characters. I think they're great. I think the game is in a good state. I just think the problem is right now is that there's a lot of negative Nancy's out there. I'm going to fully admit it. And sometimes I feed into the hype like everyone else does. I want every army to have their day. I want every army to have their moment in the sun. I also want every army to have their book so that you can play them properly. I hate not having the book for my Death Guard. I hate not having the book for my Wolves, so I've got to use alternate Marine rules for them rather than using what are rules designed for them. I think AdMech are going to be great. I mean, I sold mine off because I needed less armies. I don't know if it's the creep is the business model. I honestly think it's the new model syndrome and the fear of missing out. We're gonna do army. You gotta get it now. You won't get it later. You gotta get that box now, or it'll be gone. Printable stand-ins for Cataphrons. I might. I'll IM you a link. I'll IM you a link after the show there, Mythos. I think I've got one. I think I got a source for it. Oh my God. I wouldn't even try to, Ben. I wouldn't even try to. I'm telling you right now, they probably already have all the figures and they've got all this stuff planned out. When you understand print times, when they released the box for Leviathan, these AdMech and Necron codexes were already in print. They were already in print being produced. I have I have no illusions about that. Trust me, I know how the printing world works. I understand how the gaming world works. Don't get me wrong there's if you want to know where things are, look back 6 months because that's when they started production. They started production 6 months earlier. And for some, it might even been longer. They might have been in design earlier than that. They might have been in design work earlier than that. And the only reason I can honestly tell you that is that when I saw the Horus Heresy model for my man the Primarch of the Phoenix God, why can I not think of him? The Emperor's Children. They probably do. They probably already have like a team already working on the new rule set or how they're going to modify these teams in their Fulgrim. When they revealed the Fulgrim model for Horus Heresy, the Fulgrim, whatever you want, what is it? Advanced or whatever he is, where he's corrupted now, and I'd already seen that model. I had seen pictures of the prototype printed version of that model a year and a half earlier. I had seen that. I'd seen the printed prototype of that model because somebody I know had a camera shot of it and it was leaked around in some very closed channels. I'd already seen it. I knew what Fulgrim looked like. That's why I was convinced Fulgrim was going to be the next. When Angron came out, it was like, what? I've already seen the Fulgrim model. Why are they releasing Angron? Where does Angron crap come from? Because we all thought it was going to be Fulgrim. They've been teasing Fulgrim since the end of 8th edition. I'm fully convinced we're going to see we're going to see the Demon Prince Fulgrim at the end of 10th. I'm convinced of it. I will eat my words if it doesn't happen, but I am fully convinced we're going to see him at the end of this edition. I have no question of it. Just like I have no doubt when Votann comes out with their codex, or they start prepping for their codex, they're getting an entire second wave of models. I mean, we're going to talk, it's going to double their codex in size. And some of the models are going to be like, well, why did we create those? Because they just completely outclass these figures that already exist. It's just the way they work. It's what they did. It's what they did with Admech. So, but it is what it is. It's the way of Warhammer. It's the way we love the game. It's the way this game works. Vampire Courts came out. They've got the new army box coming down this week. I don't disagree with you. If I hadn't gotten out completely of Admech, I'd be all for it. I really would be all for it. But I literally sold off the last of my Admech a couple months back. I divested myself of all my Admech. I'm like, I want that army, but I don't. I don't need that army. I need to get some space out of my game room. I need to get rid of armies that I've started but not really done anything with. Because I have too many armies. Part of me is looking at, like, I have Votann, and I think, do I really, really want to do Votann? Do I really want to do Votann? I do. I really, really want them. And I really want Custodes. And I've got Custodes. I'd invested in Custodes multiple times over the year. So I probably will. Like I've got a paint scheme decided for them. I want the Combat Patrol because I need all the figures in that box. So I'm contemplating just picking up that Combat Patrol to add on to what I've already got. It's a fantastic army. Um, the game's goddamn addictive. Oh yeah. Mythos. I completely bailed on AdMech. I traded a bulk of my AdMech at the big. I want to say beginning of the year. Like I want to say this was like February, maybe. I traded the bulk of my AdMech either February or March. I traded them um, to a guy that won a Space Wolf army at a tournament. He won a professionally painted, gorgeous Space Wolf army, 2,000 point army. Um, and he doesn't play Space Wolves. He doesn't play Space Marines. It was a charity event, so he didn't care that he won it. He's like, "Oh, that's cool," and he was thinking about selling it, and he's just like, "But no one's going to give me what it's worth." And then he knew I had AdMech, and he knew I was kind of like on the fence about staying in AdMech. I like them, but I don't like them. I don't need another army that I need to do an unbelievable amount of painting to get them to where I want them to be. And he's like, "Well, I'll trade you." And we basically traded MSRP for MSRP and traded armies. So he didn't have to build the army. He was going to have to paint it. I didn't have to build or paint the army, but I'm going to have to rebase them all because I hate the basing job. But the rest of the models are absolutely stunningly gorgeous. Just a stunning, stunning army. So I added them to my wolves. So it was 2,000 points of additional wolves with some actually a few units I didn't have and a few units I needed more of. And that was about, I want to say, like half the AdMech army I have. And then I had somebody else that wanted AdMech, and he was trading other stuff. He was trading another set of Marine stuff, and he traded basically. He wanted all my AdMech. I gave him all the rest of my AdMech, and he gave me a bunch of Marine stuff. Again, MSRP for MSRP. And I basically got a bunch of Marines that I can use for my 1,000 Marine chapter project, plus give Lady D some extra Marines for working on her salamanders when she finally gets to them. So, yeah, I mean, it worked out. I mean, I ended up I got an incredible deal on the amount I had, the number I had. I got an incredible price deal on them. To be blunt, I don't even mind talking the numbers. I basically bought what would have been MSRP of about $1,200 to $1,300 worth of AdMech altogether. And that's the stuff I traded for and the little bit extra I bought. Probably around $1,300 MSRP for it. And I got it for about half that price. A little more than half that price. I think I spent a grand total of $700 on it. And I traded it for effectively its MSRP value. So $1,400 worth of wolves and Marines, and half of it was already painted by a pro painter that I like his style of painting wolves. They're my kind of wolves. They're that eggshell, that robin's egg blue. So they're gorgeous. And he's a fantastic painter. Those of you that have been involved with the Warpstorm tournament, Jeff, the 6 or 7 time best painted army and show guy, they're actually painted by him. So he's an award-winning painter. Mythos. So if you may not know him, and Ben might not know him, he plays for a team called Thunder Tactics, and he is literally probably one of the best painters I've ever met. He is fantastic, and in the local area, he's won a lot of awards, tournament wise. I don't know what else he's gone in. I don't think he's won like a Golden Demon or anything like that, but he's won a lot of tournament awards. And like to get an entire army worth of Marines painted by him, it's great. I don't like his basing style. I think the basing looks awful, but it's easily fixed. He's a very minimalist baser. Yeah, they're fantastic. At some point, I need to actually pull out all the wolves I've gotten over the last couple of years now, and gotten up and painted, and actually do a big showcase of my entire wolves army. Because I have so many of them now that I didn't realize I had. It's kind of ridiculous how many space wolves I have now. But I need to. It's just they're just so pretty, and I just need to rebase them because he does basically put some texture material and a couple tufts on them, but they're really ugly looking tufts. I mean, they're just. And it doesn't look like he dry brushed the basing and all. Like he based them as quickly as he could because I don't know, maybe he just didn't want to detract from the way the figures looked. So I'm basically going to take the tufts off. I'm just going to remove the tufts. They're just awful. They're these horrible. I can't even describe them. They're just ugly looking tufts. I'm going to pull them off. I'm going to probably put a little bit more wet looking mud in on the bases because they're like this dry, kind of medium brown, kind of completely boring looking basing mud or basing dirt. They look like they're running on an old dirt road because they're just this basic dirt looking stuff. So I've got some nice wet mud. I'm going to put the wet mud on there probably, and then dab a bunch of snow in places all over it. Put some dead or winter tufts in there and put a little bit of snow in them. Do them up on my tundra basing like I did with my Horus Heresy wolves, because that's a part of the basing I'm doing. Like some of the basing has the crackle that you guys are familiar with seeing, and some of the basing has now this tundra look because I'm really kind of enamored with that tundra looking stuff. Yeah, it's a little time consuming, but it's not bad at all. It'll be pretty easy to do. The more time consuming thing is actually the one thing he didn't do, that the only detraction I have about them. There's no decals on anything. They're painted in the colors. There's no decals. There's no wolf logos. There's no rune logos. There's no skulls, like skull decals. There's no color markings at all. Like this shoulder's yellow, this shoulder's red. That's it. So I'm going to have to go through. I want to go through and with a couple packs of decals and go through and decal up the entire army as one unit at a time and make them look good to match how good their paint job is. I'm going to do it one unit at a time, and I'm going to take my time in it. And that's because they're not high up in the criticality, and I don't want to screw them up. I want to do them when I have the time to put a unit, do the work, put the unit down, pick up a unit, do the work, put them down. Yeah, it's the detail work on an entire 2,000 point army. So, it'll be worth it. It'll be great. But yeah, it's a time consuming project. And because I'm not playing the Wolves right this minute, it's right up there with the 12 Wolves, the 12 Thunder Wolves and the Land Raider that I got like 6 months ago, that I haven't touched since I got. They all need to be repainted. They need to be stripped and repainted because they're kind of hack and slash painted. And that's a project for this winter. There's going to be a lot of that going on this winter. I would have painted more the last couple of months. I've kind of I burned myself out on painting over the summer, getting over that 500 mark, and now I'm just kind of like, oh, because yeah, I busted. I broke the 500 figure mark in July for how many figures I'd painted this year because I haven't been able to go out and do tournaments. So I've just been doing painting. I painted like 4,000 points of Necrons. That's a lot of warriors. And a few other armies. And I just kind of like burned myself out of painting for a bit. So I've taken a few months off just doing one figure here, one figure there, base coating, just building stuff, preparing projects, not really focusing on painting, trying to get through finally finding a color scheme, Commodore. Finally finding a color scheme for that terrain that I can now detail. It took me a while. I had to strip this thing like 4 times to get it where I want it. But now I'm actually ready to start putting the metallics and then the inks on this. But yeah, I finally got the base color that I like. This streaky reddish tan. I hope you like that color, because that's what this is going to be. And I'm going to come in with a bunch of golds and silvers and work up a lot of this metallics in here. Some golds, some silvers, and some brasses. And then we're going to do some agrax on it, and then this project will be finally done. But it took me a while to find a color combination that I like through 4 levels of dry brushing and overbrushing to get it to where I wanted. And yeah, this has actually consumed a lot of my painting mentality, because I've been wanting to get this done for Commodore for a while, and I kept overthinking it maybe, but I kept doing a color combo and I didn't like the way it looked out. It's too muddy, it's too dirty, it's too brown, it's too white. Color correct here, color correct there. I've been painting until I found the order and combination that I like. And I finally found a combo that works. And so now it's time to finally get Commodore's terrain project done. This winter is, the final steps on that. I just got to get these Marines painted and then we're going. But it is now 9 o'clock. Wow, this has been quick. We're talking about painting, talking about project, talking about playing, and we got through the night. So, play your combat patrols. Play combat patrol rules. It's fun. It's a fun, small game. It's a quick game. It's not your normal 40K, but it's enjoyable. Play 40K. Play Age of Sigmar. Play other games. Build and paint. Have fun with yourself. Have fun with your hobby. Remember, it's a hobby. Don't stress over it. Holidays are coming up. Think about the people you love. Think about the people you care about. And be open about what you're gifting people. Be open about what they want. If somebody asks you, well, what do you want? Tell them. Tell them exactly what you want. Don't make them wonder. Tell them. We're adults here. They can surprise you. Give them a wide range. I'm in a Secret Santa right now. That's really well. The Faith and Damnation miniature group. I'm in there. You ain't kidding. I'm in their Secret Santa this year. So I got a gift for somebody. And I'm going to have one coming. So until 2 weeks from now, again, we won't be next week, but it'll be 2 weeks. We'll be back. And we will see you then. And until then, game on.